As You Like It. This is a comedy. Oh, and this would be on, in your notes, a different section of the notes. This would be on page 1.3, I think, or 1.2. The notes opened with Shakespeare's plays, and I knew that I was going to tell about several. And I should explain that we watched, in this course, we started off by watching Much Ado About Nothing. Then I promptly told a lot of the story of Romeo and Juliet, together with the movie Shakespeare in Love. Then after Christmas, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So already, and there may be some others. Yes, I think at that time I also mentioned Twelfth Night. I'll have to go back and look. But anyway, I don't think I mentioned As You Like It. And what I've had the kids do was write the play down and just mention the major characters. And I would tell the story, is what I would do. I would single kids out and say, all right, let's say that you're Rosalind, okay? And you're Celia, you're her cousin. And the kids would look at me wide-eyed. But then it was easier for me to tell the story and imagine it, and for the kids as well. I recommend that as a trick, actually, to any teachers that are watching this. You have to know the stories very well, with lots of quotes and stuff, and say, all right, Rosalind, here's what you say. I'll mention that again later. All right, As You Like It, I'm going to jump down to here. It's a pastoral drama. It takes place in the woods, out in the countryside. And it's the first play that I think that I ever read on my own. I believe I was a 9th grader by that time, and I bought a book of Shakespearean plays, and I read this, and I was drawn to it because of this. Now this is personal. I'm on a farm. I'm on the farm where I always wanted to live all my life, and at the time that I was in 9th grade, I was living in a city, in a different state, and I longed to be on a farm. And so I've been drawn toward pastoral things. They're idealistic, pastoral, that's related to shepherd, a pastor, or pasture probably. They're idealistic, they're not realistic about how harsh life is on a farm. But now and then, writers will come up with them. I think it's the only one that Shakespeare did that's pastoral. Anyway, Rosalind is the main character, really, and Orlando is her lover. And at the beginning, these two are staying at Duke. There's two dukes. There's Duke Frederick. There's one older duke and one younger duke. I didn't write them down because I don't think they're quite famous enough. But suddenly, because the duke, that's Celia's father, has banished his brother, taken his land and banished him. And off he's gone to the forest of Arden. And there he lives with a group of friends. But he has let the older duke's daughter, Rosalind, stay there because these two are such close friends. Well, he suddenly has a change of heart and banishes Rosalind, says, you get out of here. There's also a wrestling match. I don't have time to tell this. I'm not going to take the time to tell this whole story. But Orlando wins a wrestling match, surprisingly, and he ends up being banished as well. And anyway, these two run away with the fool, Touchstone, the fool. He's one of these very smart, very clever fools. And the three of them go off. These Rosalind disguised as a man for her own safety's sake, and off they go to the forest of Arden, and there they find the Duke. Well, Orlando has been banished as well, and there's a subplot about his brother, but he's banished, and he ends up in the forest of Arden as well. But by now he's hopelessly in love with Rosalind, and anyway. Jaques is and it looks like Jacques, but I think maybe it's supposed to be pronounced as if it were English, Jaques. He's a friend of the old Duke's, and I mostly put him there because the most famous speech from the whole thing starts, all the world's a stage, and each man plays his part. It's like the 7 stages of man speech. Anyway, the thing, and it all ends happily. I mean, there's about 4 couples that all get married at the end. It's fun. It's fun. But the most amazing part is where Rosalind coaches Orlando into how he should, how can I say this, how he should recover from being hopelessly in love. Well, Rosalind is disguised as a man, and or a young boy, really a young man, and that young man is then talking to Orlando about his love for Rosalind. And the gender bending here is so, it takes a leap of faith, you know, to imagine that this could happen. But if you start with the fact that in Shakespeare's day, women were not allowed on stage. So we had a boy playing the part of a girl, playing the part of a boy, as she coaches Orlando. It's fun. Oh, and Kenneth Branagh, 2006, did As You Like It. I thought it was really good. I've used it with the students. It worked. They liked it. I don't think it's quite as good as some of the other ones, but it's perfectly usable. It wasn't universally acclaimed, but I was so happy to see Kenneth Branagh go back to work. He's the one who starred in Much Ado About Nothing. All right, I might think of something else to tell you about that tomorrow, but that'll be it for today.